Augie Cooter, Chapter 12. The following day, Donica stayed home from school pretending to be sick. Mrs. Perfecto brought her daughter tea and toast in bed. "Is there anything else I can get you, Cupcake?" Mrs. Perfecto asked. "Uh-huh," Donica nodded weakly. "More cheese." Mrs. Perfecto couldn't believe how much cheese her daughter was eating all of a sudden. What was going on? Had she come down with some kind of strange cheese disease? "You've already had a whole package this morning," she pointed out. "Are you sure you want more?" "I want more cheese," demanded Donica. "Yes, Cupcake, right away," said Mrs. Perfecto, hurrying out of the room. While Mr. Stolinovsky's fourth grade class did math and spelling and watched a nature video about the Galapagos Islands, Donica Perfecto spent the morning hiding under her covers, charving cheese. Once, when she was lost in concentration trying to perfect the thumb on the lower peninsula of Michigan, she failed to hear her mother approaching and was nearly caught in the act. Fortunately, at the last second, Donica heard the doorknob turn and managed to toss the evidence up, which is how she discovered that cheese sticks very nicely to a plaster ceiling if you throw it hard enough. Meanwhile, at Truman Elementary, Donica's absence did not go unnoticed. "Maybe she really was sick yesterday," Dawn said to Hannah as they sat together at lunch, both feeling a bit of loss. They didn't know what to do, with no one there to boss them around or to provide first syllables for them to finish. Augie, who was sitting across from Amy eating a piece of cold pizza left over from the day before, was wondering about Donica too. "She seemed okay when we rode home yesterday from the store," he told Amy as he picked off a piece of pineapple and popped it in his mouth. Amy, who hadn't been able to shake the feeling that Donica was up to something, began pulling off her rubber bands and dropping them one by one onto her napkin. "And did I tell you that she invited me to come swim in her pool this summer?" Augie continued. Amy nodded, and having removed the last of her rubber bands, took an unencumbered bite of her tuna fish sandwich. Augie had told her about the pool invitation twice since they had sat down to lunch. Augie went on. "They've got this cabana banana, which is full of towels in case anyone needs one. Isn't that cool?" Amy nodded. She'd already heard about the cabana banana too. What she couldn't figure out, and was too shy to ask, was how Donica and Augie had suddenly become such good friends. Amy had seen her making fun of Augie behind his back plenty of times. Why was Donica hanging out with him now? "Hey," said Augie, "I just thought of something. Since Donica is sick, maybe she'll need somebody to fill in for her at the birthday party this afternoon." This was the first time Amy had heard anything about a birthday party. "Whose birthday is it?" she asked. "Dawn's little sister," Augie told her. "Donica is going to charve for the kids since the clown couldn't come." "Donica knows how to charve?" Amy asked. "Yippers! I taught her how yesterday." Amy was more convinced than ever that something extremely fishy was going on. That afternoon in class, Mr. Stolinovsky brought out an old record player that had belonged to him when he was a kid. He'd also brought along some special records. There were pictures of cowboys on the covers, some of them with fiddles tucked under their chins, others in bright red snap shirts holding guitars. "When I was a boy, we used to square dance at school," he told the class. "Every Friday at the end of the day, we'd push all the desks to one side of the room, bow to our partners, and a la man left, do-si-do, and promenade until we were red in the face. I loved it so much I thought I might try introducing you to the joys of square dancing too." You could have heard a pin drop. "We gotta dance?" asked David Corbin, finally breaking the silence. "With partners?" whispered Bethy Hudson, her big blue eyes wide in horror. Augie was the only one other than Mr. Stolinovsky who thought square dancing sounded like fun. His parents had an antique wind-up Victrola in the living room at home, and sometimes they would crank it up and dance. Augie loved to watch his parents twirl around in each other's arms. His mother had taught him a few steps, but Augie always seemed to trip over his own feet and end up stepping on her toes. "Make 2 lines, one for the boys, one for the girls, and go from tallest to smallest," Mr. Stolinovsky said to the class. There were 12 girls and 11 boys in the class, but since Donica was absent, it worked out evenly. Augie was the next to tallest boy in the line, and as it happened, Dawn was the next to tallest girl, so they were partners. As Augie followed Mr. Snolanowski's directions, taking Dawn by the arm and escorting her to their corner of the square, Dawn shot a look of total despair toward Hannah. Hannah was paired up with Jackson Polito, who she secretly thought was kind of cute, so she wasn't as unhappy about her partner as Dawn was. Mr. Snolanowski put on one of the scratchy records, and pretty soon they were square dancing. Or at least trying to. Augie did his best to follow the instructions, hooking elbows with Dawn and skipping around in a circle when the caller told them to swing your partners. But it wasn't long before the inevitable happened. Ouch! Dawn cried, suddenly grabbing her foot and hopping around on one leg. You stepped on me. Oops, sorry, said Augie. Mr. Snolanowski told them to sit the next one out so Dawn's foot could have a chance to recover. Augie sat beside her on the floor while the others continued dancing. There was a lot of complaining going on, but it actually seemed like most of the kids were having fun, even if they didn't want to admit it. After a while, Augie leaned toward Dawn and shouted over the music. You must be excited, huh? About what? Getting stomped on? Dawn said, scowling as she rubbed her sore foot. No, Augie said, about the party this afternoon. What party? Asked Dawn. Your sister's party. Now Dawn was really confused. I don't have a sister, she said. I'm an only child. That's weird, said Augie. Donica told me she was going to be helping out at your sister's birthday party today. I spent the whole afternoon with her yesterday, teaching her everything I know. Or at least I think I taught her everything. There might have been something I forgot, but I can't remember what it... Dawn cut him off. Let me get this straight, she said. You were with Donica yesterday after school? Yippers, she came to the store with me. She did? How did she seem? Fine, said Augie, except her edges were a little jaggedy. What about her appendix? Was it exploding? I don't think so, said Augie. Said Dawn. And someone else was added to the growing list of people wondering what in the world Donica Perfecto was up to.